So a lot of people think that the visual component is the most important and that's what you should focus on. And I want to debunk that.
Today, I'm very excited to be joined by Tara Zerker. If you don't know who she is, you need to know who Tara is. She's Facebook ads expert, founder of the Successful Ads Club. And Successful Ads Club is a membership site designed to help marketers improve their Facebook and Instagram ad results. Tara, welcome back to the show. How are you doing today?
Well, thank you, Mike. It's so good to be here. I'm excited to be here with everybody today.
Awesome. Well, today, Tara and I are going to explore how to write better performing Facebook ads. And I don't know anybody that doesn't want their Facebook ads to perform better. So let's start with the big question, which is a lot of people right now are like not sure even about Facebook. They're questioning whether or not like they should be investing in Facebook. You know, maybe they've been hearing some of the press that Facebook lost a little bit of their users and their stock declined like the biggest decline in a single day. And they're just questioning whether or not they should be investing their money in Facebook ads. What do you want to say? Why should marketers not give up on Facebook ads? What's your thoughts?
Such a good question, Mike, especially with the privacy updates from last year that are continuing to roll into this year. I mean, there's so many things with Facebook, right? It's always, I feel like, a controversial platform at this point. But here's the thing, it is still a very valid, very important platform and channel for client acquisition as well as engagement. You have to really think about where your customers are hanging out. And most of them are still hanging out on the Facebook suite of platforms, which of course includes Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Messenger. I mean, people are still on these platforms. They're still hanging out there, which means you can find them there. You can market to them there. You can engage with them there. And that's what you should be doing. But also, I want to say that everything we're going to talk today applies to so many other platforms as well. So you'll take a lot of this and you can transfer this across platforms. This is valuable information no matter what platform you are using primarily or experimenting with or wanting to move into, activate, etc. This applies to just about everything.
I love that. And I just want to remind people some of the metrics. I don't have the exact number in my head, but it was 1.9 something billion people still actively on Facebook. It went down by like 10 million or 100 million, but it's still a huge number of people that are active on Facebook, right? And still, my understanding, it's one of the more economical options out there. And the fact of the matter is that a lot of people have had great success with Facebook, and you're probably one of them if you're watching or listening to this right now. And you know, this iOS stuff that you talked about earlier with ad and privacy stuff, I mean, it's getting a little harder, right, for us to do Facebook ads, and therefore we need to be smarter, right, with how we create our ads. And that's really what we're here to talk about today, which is how can we get more out of what we're spending with Facebook, right? So talk to me a little bit about why text and copy is so important when it comes to Facebook ads.
All right. So a lot of people think that the visual component is the most important and that's what you should focus on. And I want to debunk that. I think that is a misconception and a myth. And I think you need to focus on both. But they have different, I guess they have different utilities to them, right? So the visual component, I always think of it as it's there to stop the scroll. I'm sure that I've shared this statistic. In fact, I know I have on the YouTube channel with our community here, but there is such a fascinating statistic that Facebook released a few years ago. Essentially, people scroll when they're on mobile, and you know that we're spending most of our social media time on mobile. People are scrolling essentially the length of the Statue of Liberty every single day on their phones.
That's crazy.
That's insane, like the length of the Statue of Liberty. And so we actually scroll at least 4 times faster on our phones than we do on desktop. And we're making our way through a lot of land, you know, during our device time. And so I want you to think of the visual component as stopping the scroll. That should be where people slow down, completely stop. They want to take in your ad. They're interested. They want to hear what you have to say. And they immediately go from that visual component, whether it be a video, image, or GIF, to, or image, I guess would count as carousel, right? But whatever that visual component is, they go from there to the copy. Now, I always say that copy done well can do the heavy lifting on your conversion, your sales, whatever that next step is for the people. So if you do your copy extremely well, you can have people 60, 80, 90% sold by the time they get to your sales page or your landing page. So if your next step is for them to give their email in exchange for information, you should have them mostly sold at the ad level where they're like, man, I really want this. So that when they're going to that landing page or that sales page, whatever that next step is from the ad, when they hit that next step, really they're just kind of scanning the page, making sure that it feels cohesive. Yes, this is exactly what I want. And honestly, they're just really at that point looking for any red flags, something that would stop them from what it is they've already convinced themselves they want or need. So your ads, when done correctly, can do most of the heavy lifting for your next step. But most people, they just slap some copy in there. They hope it works. They're not thinking about it super strategically. I mean, strategically enough that they hope that it gets people to click to their landing page. But you can be doing so much more with the copy on your ads.
I love what you're saying here because this is a little different of a philosophy than maybe what we used to do back in the day. Back in the day, it was create compelling enough copy or curiosity to get someone to click. And
Yeah.
it sounds like today the job of the ad is actually to do more than just compel them to click, because you don't want just any click, then you're going to spend more money, presumably, right? You want the right kinds of clicks. And therefore, if you can craft an ad that is designed to persuade instead of just crafty, creative, spam bait, kind of like, I want them to click and then they're just going to abandon, that's not going to help you at all, right?
Exactly, totally. And I think too with, especially with in this post iOS world where people are more concerned about what they sometimes accurately or inaccurately perceive as rising costs, right? Definitely, when you look at your Facebook ads manager, your dashboard, it looks like your costs are rising now. That may or may not be true. I've seen a lot of accounts that look like costs are rising, but when they compare their backend data and they look at their Google Analytics, they're like, oh, our costs are the same or even better than they were before. But tracking is definitely inaccurate. It's making things look a little bit skewed and crazy. And some people are experiencing truly rising costs in their ads. And that's where this comes in, Mike, where you have to get smarter. You have to make your ads more compelling. Your ads need to do heavier lifting if you're going to be successful with Facebook, for sure. And really any of the platforms. Again, this applies to any and pretty much all social platforms where you're using any amount of copy in your ads, whether it be in the video or if you have a little bit of a section for you to put copy in. This applies to everything.
Let's talk about, so we've established the case that copy really matters, and anybody who's been in marketing for a long time understands the power of copy. Where do we find ideas from our own business, if you will? Like, where do we source these ideas from? Because obviously, if we're advertising something on Facebook, presumably we've got a product and we've been marketing that product and selling that product for some period of time. So where can we find ideas to not have to reinvent the wheel when it comes to our copy?
Okay, so I love to assemble copy. I'm not a huge write from copy or write copy from scratch type of girl. I like to actually assemble it and gather it, which makes your job as a marketer 10 times easier. So the first place I'm going to look for copy is the landing page or sales page. Now, some marketers believe that you need to have original copy for the ad and then they get to the landing page and it's something, a little bit different. And I don't think so at all. And the data would show me that this is accurate. When we've tested this, I can't even say across how many millions of dollars at this point, we have learned that copy that reflects what is on the landing page tends to do the best. It's not always the case, so you always want to test this, but in many instances, when your copy on your ad is exactly what it is on your landing page, it performs so much better. So, and this goes back to psychology. Facebook has shared with advertisers, like how important it is that when people go from your ad to your landing page or sales page, they do not want to see new stuff. They do not want to process an entirely a new set of information. They want this to feel very seamless. And truthfully, they don't even want to read the landing page. They just want to make sure it's cohesive and that it kind of rhymes with what you said in the ads. As long as it does that, then they just want to get their thing, whatever it is that they want to sign up for. They want to put in their email or their phone number or credit card, and they want to get the thing that was promised. So you want to make this as seamless as possible. So I go to the landing page. First thing I'm going to capture is the headline. Now, obviously, the headline needs to be good, right? And Mike, you are like copy king on this stuff. So I'll be so curious to hear your thoughts. But the headline is the most important piece of copy that you need to pull into your ads. You can also pull in the sub headline if you have one. That's like another really good thing to gather. And of course, you want to pull in, and this is a great thing just to kind of pull into a big doc, and then you can start writing your ads from there. So gather your headline, your sub headline, and you also want to gather any bullet points that appear on your landing page because you're going to use that to make some of these copy variations. And then another thing that would be really helpful is to go through your Yelp reviews or your Google reviews or whatever, if you have a big file of reviews, customer feedback, testimonials, etc., and pull out some really potent testimonials that you can use in your ads as well. And we'll kind of go through how to assemble all of these, but those are the things that you can gather together very quickly. This should not take more than 5 to 10 minutes. And now you have some really great swipe copy that you can use to put these ads together in a really simple, effective way.
I love what you're saying here. Typically, the headline is some sort of a benefits or future promise focused headline that says this is what you will achieve if you purchase or invest in or whatever this product. And then, the subhead is underneath that. And then sometimes, depending on how long your sales copy is, you might have section headers that you probably want to pull, right? Like, for example, if you go to Social Media Marketing World sales page, you'll see the different section headers we have. And then sometimes some people, depending on where they get down to the price, they might summarize some of the frequently like who, what, why, when, and, like just the facts kind of thing. Like if you got a short summary of what it is and why, that would also be valuable copy I would think you would pull. If you've already created ads in other mediums, like email, for example, right? Or
Absolutely.
newsletter ads, you may as well pull all that data too, right? I find it fascinating. What were you going to say about the newsletter stuff?
No, that is so, so good. Or even think about subject lines that have done really well for you, even in the last quarter.
Right.
You can take all of this and turn it into some of your top performing ads of all time so easily.
It's kind of sounds like fascinatingly stupid simple. I mean, that you literally should just copy the stuff right off the sales page, right? I mean, have you found that is it really that simple? I mean, it literally is exactly the same. Wow. Okay. That's crazy.
Now you're going to test. You can always test different things, but I want you to start here with your testing, and you will find, especially if you've thought through your sales pages and your landing pages, if you've really thought these through, then your ads should be no brainer. I mean, you could put them together in 10 to 20 minutes.
Wow.
Honestly, like we have done so many, incredible ads that have produced millions of dollars for our clients, literally millions, that have just been assembled in the exact way I'm telling you guys in just a few minutes. So this does not need to be rocket science. Now, if your landing page has not been well thought through, then you've got a different problem. You really need to think through what this offer is. Whether it be you're exchanging information for email, text, phone numbers, or credit card transactions, you've got to really think through whatever the offer is and make sure it's juicy and enticing and it solves a problem. And I always like to say it needs to solve. And this was one of my dear friends, Carolyn Soldo, who always told me this. It has to solve a migraine problem, not a headache problem. Too many people are trying to solve headaches, and that's not good enough. It needs to solve a migraine.
There might be language that's on our sales page that may not work on Facebook. So there are certain phrases or words that you think we should avoid because we don't want to make that mistake, right?
Yes. Okay. Facebook is highly sensitive. If you have had ads rejected, your account turned, if your account has been suspended, you know what I'm talking about. If you've ever been in Facebook jail, this is going to resonate with you. And a lot of people, even though, this can be a total mystery to them, like, why are my ads getting rejected? I don't understand. And there's several categories of things that Facebook is very sensitive about. One of those that used to be kind of the unwritten rule, I think is pretty well known at this point, is to eliminate as many usages of you and your as possible. The big thing is that
Really?
Facebook,
Okay.
yeah, that one's huge. And if your account is not sensitive to this, don't worry about it. But if your account keeps getting ads rejected or your account gets shut down and you're wondering, what in the world am I doing? I'm following the policies that Facebook is sending me. I still don't know what's wrong. Try getting rid of as many using yours as possible. I try to limit it always to 1 to 2 per ad at the most. So if
Okay, the copywriter in me is
I
cringing on this
know,
because this is the most powerful
yes,
word in copy, which is you and your, because everybody wants to focus on themselves, right? So how in the world do you get rid of that? Do you say marketers instead of you? Marketers are looking for it. Is that, would you substitute your target audience, or
yes.
moms are looking for? Is that kind of what you're doing?
Yeah, exactly. And you'll be amazed how many instances you can just simply delete. It might not make your copy the most grammatically, perfect copy in the world, but you'd be amazed at what you can, like I said, what you can simply just delete out of your copy. Not everybody's account is sensitive to this, but I will tell you that there are so many accounts that are expensive ads. Facebook will now, this is not like, a publicized, or Facebook has not come out and said this, but if you have too many yours and using yours in your ads and they're working, but they're expensive, I mean, that could be a reason why.
Huh.
So, Harvard Business Review, I was reading an article in there once, and they said, you know, basically marketers have to travel this fine line of being personalized but not creepy. So let me put this in an example that I think everybody will relate to. And if you don't relate to it, you'll understand why too many using yours can cause problems. So we'll take weight. Weight is a very sensitive topic. Obviously, nobody really wants to be called out for their weight. So if you're scrolling through your Facebook and you see an ad that says something like, are you ready to get rid of those extra 5 pounds? Are you feeling heavy, bloated? Do you wish that your pants fit better? Okay, that's pretty powerful, but the effect of that can leave me as the consumer feeling like, ugh, how does Facebook know this much about me? I'm a little creeped out that, like, yes, this ad is relevant. And yes, I actually do need to lose these 5 pounds, but I'm a little creeped out that they know this about me. So Facebook is trying to make sure that as marketers, we're being very sensitive to being direct and relevant, which they want. They actually want us to be very relevant to their people, right? To their community. But they do not want us to feel creepy, like we're snooping on people and we're overhearing conversations about how they're complaining to their best friend about these extra 5 pounds. So you want it. So I would reposition that ad as something like, it's time to feel fit and fabulous. It's possible to do this in 15 minutes a day. And we're doing a 30-day challenge to teach there's your instance of you, how to do this. So you see how that kind of reframes it a little bit. So now I'm like, oh, yeah. I want to feel fit and fabulous. That's exactly what I want. And so I'm not thinking about, just that too direct of targeting and like, oh, I don't like that Facebook knows that about me. Of course, Facebook doesn't know that about them, but marketers, we can make it feel like that, right?
This is fascinating because, we call these things desired outcomes, right? So, like in the
Yes.
copywriting world, we talk about what's the desired outcome, which is a positive thing, right? But normally, as marketers, we tend to identify the problem and agitate it a little bit because that's a very common model. Like, for example, um, clothes not feeling great, some, and then, like need to go to a 50, like need to go to your 10-year reunion, that's the way you would agitate it,
Yeah.
right? But that's not exactly what you're saying. What you're saying is like, this is your year to make those resolutions come alive, right? Something along those lines, right? So it seems like they're actually trying to get people inspired of a possible outcome a little bit more than focusing on the problems that they're facing with ads. Is that really what I'm hearing you say?
So that is a definite another thing. So one thing, and again, this has all been tested across hundreds and thousands of ads at this point. And these are just trends that we've noticed, but yous and yours can feel a little bit too, a little bit too creepy to the consumer. And so Facebook has, and they've actually asked us, not necessarily directly in policies, but sometimes you'll get, great reps who will respond back to you with very clear reasons about what they're trying to avoid. And they will tell you that you and your can violate policies.
Hmm.
So you want to avoid you and your. You also want to reframe things that are considered highly sensitive. So money is highly sensitive, weight is highly sensitive, relationships is high. Those are highly sensitive categories. Facebook actually does have policies around each of those. So you can read those if your business happens to fall into one of those categories, which many will. But you want to be careful not to get too deep into the pain point, or what I like to call lazy pain point. So you can definitely call out pain points, but Facebook wants us to avoid, and you can think about the research that has been done on this, and it's very clear why they would want to avoid this. But you want to avoid words like lonely, anxiety, anxious, things like that. That's going to leave people coming away from the platform with now these seeds planted in their heads of, am I lonely? Am I anxious? Facebook does not want people coming off of their platform feeling worse about themselves. Social media, unfortunately, can have that shadow side effect you know, of not making us feel our best. And they would like advertisers to help them in their mission of making social media a positive place. So the more you can do that as an advertiser, the more you will actually see your costs get better. So you can try this for yourself on your account. Put an ad out that's full of pain point, and put an ad out that you can still address pain point, but maybe a little bit more creatively, not using those lazy pain point words of, anxious, stress, anxiety, and see the difference. You will actually see most of the time, again, this is not true for every account, but for so many accounts, you will see a stark difference in your CPM, your cost per thousand impressions. That's what Facebook is charging your credit card, whether or not you get results. So you want your CPM to be as low as possible. The more of those, we'll call them stress related words that you put in your ads, the more Facebook is not going to reward you. But how can you get to pain point? So you can still say that, Mike, you had a great example of that actually. Clothes not fitting as well as they used to, or want to get back down to that want to
High
get.
school weight or
Oh,
something.
absolutely. That's
Yeah,
perfect. That kind of still gets to that pain point, but it doesn't put it in terms of, are you feeling anxious about those
I get
extra
it.
5 pounds?
Okay. All right.
So you want to be creative with your pain point if you're going to go there.
So let's talk about body copy of text. And when I say body copy, I don't know if that's the proper language, but I'm talking about the text above the image.
Mhm.
So how long should our copy be? Because for those of us that have longer sales pages, I mean, obviously it could be ridiculously long. So talk to us about what your experience and best practices are for the length of the copy.
Absolutely. So, interestingly enough, I have found after, in my earlier career testing so many different types of copy and ways of doing copy, I actually found that copy length can make one of the biggest differences. So, I'm going to tell you exactly what I do. I test short copy, which is a couple of sentences, medium copy, which is a couple of short paragraphs, and long copy, which I used to say is as long as it takes to tell the story, but people took that way too far. And so now I just say that is a few short paragraphs. Now, caveat to that
Okay.
is if you're the type of person who just really converts from super long copy, I mean, go for it. But for the most part, long copy should be kind of just a little bit longer than your medium copy.
Okay. So just so we're clear, Do you have any word counts on like what the difference is between medium and long, just out of curiosity? I mean, like, can you just guess? Like, we're talking about
Oh,
like,
okay.
yeah,
Word counts. Well, let's see. So let's say short copy is a couple of short sentences.
okay,
And medium copy, in fact, I've got some right here that I kind of mocked up for us.
let's hear it.
Let's call that like 6 sentences. How's that
Okay,
for kind of a good ballpark?
yeah,
And then long copy, again, it can like I have a great story of a client who the longer the copy she wrote, I mean, crazy conversions. And
really,
it just blew my mind because we would test, short copy, medium copy for her, even kind of longer copy. But I'm telling you, when she would like almost max out the character count, we would have and people would be so converted because they literally just spent probably 2 to 3 minutes reading her ad. And so by the time they got through to her funnel, I mean, they were all in. Her return on her ad spend was so I think it was like 6, 7x, something like that, just because she had poured so much into telling the story and the reasons why she launched her program and, why she was so passionate about it. By the time they made it through the funnel, it was just a reiteration of what they had already read. And so,
what's the limit on how much copy you can put in
Ah,
there? Do you know?
I should have come prepared with that. I
I mean,
don't
is it just
honestly
like, because
know.
I've seen organic posts that have ridiculously long
No,
copy.
it's
I would
it's
have,
that length. I mean, it's really
okay, it's
ridiculously long, we'll call it.
okay. So did you sounds like you have some examples. Do you want to read off maybe your short one and your medium
Yeah.
one, or okay, let's hear it.
I thought this might be the easiest. So I'm gonna just take a local brick and mortar, store, for example, and I'm actually gonna add in a caveat here. So if you are a local brick and mortar, which I know a lot in our audience are, you always want to make sure to add in geography markers. You should put these on your landing pages as well. But I just pretended that, I was writing copy for a yoga studio just to kind of give everyone a nice, easy anchor. So, and I pretended like we're in Milwaukee. So,
Okay,
uh,
cool.
yeah. So okay, so you could just say something like, "Hey, Milwaukee, you always want to get, if you're local, always get a geography marker in that first sentence. That way people know, do I need to drive across town, across the state, across the county? Like, across the neighborhood? Where is this place?" So I just said, "Hey, Milwaukee, get your first week at our yoga studio name, you put in your name, for $11. Feel fitter and more relaxed starting immediately. Click now to claim your offer."
Wow, that's
That's
short.
simple.
That's it. That's nothing.
That's it.
Is that even enough to fit before the more button, or is that?
Yeah,
Oh wow. Okay,
that would
cool.
be before the more button. And so that might be a perfect way to explain short copy. You kind of want it just to be a couple of sentences. It just fits right in. They don't have to click more and boom. If they're interested, they're clicking over. Now, let me just say that short copy I would be, for that example, pulling a headline. And I added just a little bit of a benefit statement. So if there wasn't a great subtitle on that page, then I would just add in a little benefit statement and a call to action. So headline, subtitle, or add in your own benefit statement and call to action. That short and sweet should work just fine.
Did you come up with a slightly longer one or no?
Yep. So then let's do medium. Okay.
Okay.
So medium, you would do the same thing. Pull in that short copy that you just wrote or assembled, let's say, and I would do something like this. So let's start from the beginning. "Hey, Milwaukee." And by the way, I would put emojis in this. So like the little hand wave emoji.
Cool.
"Get your first week at yoga studio name for $11. Feel fitter and more relaxed starting immediately." And this is where I would just add a simple testimonial. Simple, but something effective. So I actually went to some of our local yoga studios and I just added in some testimonials that I found. So this place is incredible. I've been waiting for something like this to come to Milwaukee, and I'm so happy I found it. It has changed my life. I leave feeling amazing physically and mentally. Click now to get signed up.
Okay,
Short and
so hold on a second. So this is literally the exact same ad.
yep.
It's just that you've added a testimonial inside of it. And then the
Yes.
call to action is below the testimonial. Is that right?
Call to action is below the testimonial. What you don't see, and of course, I just had to do it myself, even though I knew nobody would see it, is I put emojis in here too. So I have like the hand wave emoji and a little yoga emoji and the little heart face. So you can definitely emoji this up and make it a little more exciting, but it's that simple. Um, and
Wait,
let me say, oh
real
yeah,
quick,
go ahead.
real quick question. I'm fascinated by the fact that you put the offer before the problem. You know what I mean? So I think you said, hey, Milwaukee. Wait, what was the second sentence? Do you have it handy?
Get your first week at Yoga Studio name for $11. Feel
Yeah.
fitter
So
and
why'd you
more
put the
relaxed.
offer? Why'd you put the offer right up front before you actually said, hey, are you looking for a yoga studio or whatever? I'm just curious what the thought process was there.
Okay, so you can totally play with this. And we'll kind of get to ways you can alternate this and test this in different ways. What I did was I just pulled off, and I actually went to just like a landing page from a local gym here, and I just pulled off the headline. So I just
I see.
literally pulled off the line, and then I went to that gym's testimonials, and I just searched through their testimonials and then altered it a little bit to fit this Milwaukee, um,
Got it.
you know, fake gym that I made. But we're going to talk about ways that you can play with this a little bit. So you can try putting a question first. You can try putting a very carefully thought through pain point first, kind of like what we were just discussing.
Okay. Now, the difference between a longer one versus a shorter one, would you just add more testimonials or do you have
Add
any
more
other?
testimonials.
Okay.
And and that's exactly what I did for the long one. I'll save the time, but I just added testimonials specifically that addressed some of the pain points. In fact, let me actually just read off a couple of testimonials so you can kind of hear how persuasive these are. Again, these are real testimonials. So, this place is unlike anything I've ever experienced. I look forward to working out now, right? Because most people, when you think about what are the pain points of your customers, if you're a gym, let's say, or yoga studio, whatever, it is that I don't want to work out. I don't want to get started. I don't like working out, right? I don't like going to the gym. So you want to choose testimonials that specifically address the pain points that you hear commonly as you're having your sales calls and that sort of thing. The
I love
second
it
test,
because it's objection handling, right? So it's like
100%.
these are the things people say why they don't want to go, and these
Yep.
testimonials address those objections, so it makes a lot of sense to include them, right?
Now let me read you this next one and you're going to be sold on this yoga studio. So this is for someone who is not the typical gym loving mom, this studio is the place for me. I didn't even make it all the way through my $11 unlimited week before I signed up for the Black membership. I just had to be part of this studio. It's 45-minute escape from the world where I can recharge my body and my spirit. Not to mention, I'm in the best shape of my life after 5 kids. I mean,
Nice.
nothing is going to sell this place more than that type of testimonial. So don't just go lazy looking for testimonials. You specifically want testimonials that speak to the pain points. It would be so easy to pull a testimonial in that said they have the best teachers or they have the best instructors. And most people are not thinking about their workout experience, thinking, gosh, I just want to find a place with the most amazing instructors. But when you talk to gym owners, that's usually what they're going to emphasize. And you want to train your mind to be looking for testimonials that actually overcome your customer or client's objections, kind of just what Mike was speaking to.
You mentioned emojis earlier. Talk to me about
Yes.
why they're so important.
Okay. So a couple of things, these are kind of, ways you can dress up your ads. We'll call these like the finishing touches, the accessories, right? So this is the belt, the shoes, the earrings, all that stuff that makes or breaks an outfit. And so emojis are so powerful. The reason why, and this is for all age groups, some people think, oh, my client is kind of like, I'm always targeting like an older demographic or very professional demographic. I can't use emojis. There's emojis that would play to that very well. So if you're targeting professionals, there's there's like charts and graphs and computers and things like that that you can use to pull in. You want to add as many visual elements to your ads wherever possible. Visuals help people put themselves in there, in the experience right away. So even a little emoji can have that impact. And we've tested this across, I mean, I don't even know how many industries, let's just say countless industries at this point. And, from very serious industries to very playful ones. And ads with emojis typically convert better, but test this for yourself. Do the exact same ad, one with emojis, one without. I'll tell you a few of my secret emojis. So The green check mark has always performed like gangbusters for me. I put that wherever I can all the time. Green check mark is an amazing emoji. There's a black check mark as well. It does not perform as well as the green check mark. The kiss face is always an excellent one if your brand or if your industry is a little more playful. Actually, all of the little wavy face, that one's so good too. If it's like, I mean, there's so many good ones. I guess it's industry dependent. I always love the little sprout one. If it's like, something like gym, personal development, that sort of thing, the little sprout can do awesome. There's so many great emojis. And I would just say, go through, see what resonates with you and start testing them. Here's kind of another cool trick when you talk about kind of dressing up your ads. Sometimes people don't think about the grammar in the ways that they should. So if you have a younger demographic, try taking out all of your punctuation. And
Really?
Yes. Just take it all out. And you could use emojis in place of punctuation, but just A/B test, do one ad with the proper punctuation and one ad without. I want you to think of your ads almost like you text people. And Mike, I don't know if you have done an audit on your text lately for grammar, but I'm guessing that probably even you, and I know I certainly have, loosened up my grammar as the years has gone on.
And 100%.
Yeah. You want to loosen up. You want your ads to feel super native to whatever platform you're on. And Facebook and Instagram are very casual platforms. Honestly, if I'm targeting anyone under 30s, I'll take out the punctuation and just see how it performs. And I'm never surprised if it does it's not going to be a make or break. Like, oh my gosh, we took out the punctuation and our ads just went through the roof. It's not like that, but they might perform just a little bit better.
Let's talk about the headline, the way Facebook thinks about the headline, which is the text below the image, right? So talk to me about your strategy specifically with the headline, because so much of what we've talked about up to this point has been the body copy, right? And
yes,
if we think about the logical order, people are going to see the image first and probably scroll up to read the copy. Is that generally how it works?
Yeah. So it's almost like, think of it, what my eye does, and Mike, I'd be curious what your eye does. My eye naturally kind of does a little ping pong effect. So it goes, and this happens extremely fast, right? Image, headline, right up to copy. And then the copy is my make or break. So if I'm compelled enough by the copy, then I click over.
So the headline is actually something people see, probably because it's like framed with the image, right? It is almost like a caption,
It
right?
feels like it's part of it, doesn't it? I would say that and remember on Instagram, you don't have the headline. So, and when we talk about Facebook ads, of course, remember usually about 60% of your budget is naturally going to Instagram, unless you deselect that. But for headlines, what I like to do is I test two things, and I probably could get more down, kind of go down the rabbit hole of this. And I'm pulling up my actual headlines so I can read some of them off for you. But I like to test two things with the headline. Basically, a strong benefit, and then whatever the offer is, just plain and simple, super direct. So nothing creative, nothing fancy. So I'm going to tell you one of our headlines that has done really well. And you know what? I cannot find my headlines, so.
Well, while you're looking for them, just keep looking for them. I'll give it a stab. If we're talking about Milwaukee Yoga Studio, I would be like, Milwaukee's best yoga studio for moms or something like that, right?
Yep.
Or that might be a declarative statement, and a more benefit statement might be, something along the lines of, you'll feel better than you felt in years.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Totally. And where I would say, you would even say you could even go like, feel fitter and healthier in 30 days. You could really like play into that a little bit more. So I found my headlines. So when you're talking about exactly what the offer is, I was just going to pull in a couple of what we've used in the past really successfully. Free download, the ultimate Facebook ad swipe file. That's been a very effective, very direct headline. No fancy, nothing creative. And by the way, I wonder, Mike, how you feel about headlines. I try never to get too creative. I just like direct, what it is, what the promise is, done. I don't like to get super fancy with.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I think, on a sales page, that might not work, right? So this is one of those situations where the headline on your sales page, might be too long for you to use inside your,
Very
like, because if
true.
you're, because like
Absolutely.
for example, you might have a really nicely rich headline that's a little bit more focused on like designed to really get them drawn in. That might be your first sentence in your body copy, and the headline in the case of the Facebook ad sounds like it's meant to be something that goes with the image. I don't know. Am I wrong?
Yeah, yeah. And again, pulling right from that landing page or and that is a great point, Mike. If your headline is too long, then it will not work for your ads because people won't be able to read it all the
Plus, you
way.
said it won't
So you
work
might
on
have to
Instagram
shorten
either.
it and truncate it a little bit to fit that.
Yeah, like for
Here, okay, so
example, I've got one real quick, just so you know, like for social media marketing world, we've got a pretty long headline. It says discover the
oh
best
yeah,
social media marketing strategies from the world's top experts. I don't think that would fit
that
because
wouldn't fit.
it's too many words. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
And so and that's where you could say, so again, we could just say what it is, right? Social media
right.
marketing world is happening in March in San
There you
Diego.
go.
I would probably shorten it to something like that, just what it is. And
Right.
then if we wanted to do benefits, right, we could say learn from the world's top social media marketing experts. We'd have to
Right.
truncate that for sure.
Right.
And we'd have to just go straight to, kind of the heart and the meat of it.
How many characters do we have? Do you know in a headline?
In a
It's pretty short, right?
headline, it's very short. Yes. And I should have pulled that up before.
I
I
would
can
imagine it's like 5 words or something like that, right? And you
It's
said it
about
doesn't even,
5 word yeah, it's
yeah.
about 5 to 7 words is usually about what you can fit in there. And it depends on your button too, and I'll tell everyone another little trick. Depending on your ad objective, you can choose no button as your call to action and test this and see, but typically no button converts extremely well, surprisingly. And that gives you a little bit more
Because you
headline
can put a
space.
bigger headline in there, or
You can put a
maybe
bigger
it looks a
headline,
little, and also it might look a little less like an ad because it doesn't have the button. I
a
don't know. I'm
little
just
more
throwing it out.
native.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What about
Absolutely.
the image itself? Let's talk about copy. Like, because the image itself, should it or should it not have copy in it? Let's talk about that.
Okay, so test this. Oh, you guys will get annoyed with me telling you to test, right? But truly, you've got to test it. So it can do great and it can do not great. I find that often just what I call raw images, meaning it has no design, no text, they perform extremely well.
Like a
Sometimes a little bit
photograph.
of branding, a little logo, that can do great. Test it with copy and see. Just don't be surprised if the no copy imagery wins out.
Fascinating. Can we use shapes like arrows and stuff like that, or emojis inside the images? What are your thoughts on that?
Arrows no longer. So this is very timely, but Facebook has been coming down very hard on accounts that use arrows because if it's not actually and you got to be careful about things that look like buttons and things people can click.
Huh.
If it doesn't have that functionality, if the arrows for some reason have been like on Facebook's hit list lately. They just do not like arrows in images.
So do you find that mostly it's the best stuff is a photograph of something or something that you would create inside a Canva without any text in it or something like that?
Absolutely, just a simple image. You can even pull stock. Stock can sometimes do fabulous. If it's a personal brand, obviously imagery of you. If it's a facility, images of the facility. If it's, you teach classes or something, images of that, like action photos from your process, like things like that can be great. Your actual products, obviously, if you're a product, kind of depends on what you are, but I would just say you might be surprised how simple imagery can often win out, but play with some words, play with adding some copy, some text on there, see how it does, but always compare it to the raw imagery or no design imagery and see how that performs.
Video.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking Reels ads here, but I'm talking about like a good old fashioned video ad, like something that would be on Instagram feed or something that would be on the Facebook feed. Do you recommend that the video itself have some of the very same copy that's actually in the ad itself because most people are going to be reading it without the sound on, or what's your thoughts on that?
Okay, so video, there's so many types of video, right? But I would say whatever you can do to get the hook of the video in text in the first few seconds is probably one of the biggest bangs for your buck in terms of copy in video. Obviously, subtitle it, et cetera, et cetera. But you really want to, if you're going to add additional text copy into the video, just make sure it's very hooky. Ask a question, agitate the problem, whatever it is, but make sure there's a hook right there.
Tara, this has been super, super valuable. I know that a lot of people probably are like taking notes, or they're pulling over and taking notes, or they're going to look, they're going to like call their person and say, you got to listen to this. If someone listening right now wants to discover more about you and all the great things you've got going on, do you have a place you want to send them to?
Oh, thanks, Mike. Absolutely. So I would love to send you to your ad kit. So we put together an ad kit from literally hundreds of conversations we've had with marketers and business owners over the years, asking us like their top burning priority questions. And we answered those all in a simple, cohesive ad kit. It has swipe files, has the 27 words never to use on Facebook, all of our headline formulas and imagery formulas and everything there. So you can go to youradkit.com and you can grab it.
Awesome. And Tara, if people want to connect with you on the socials, like Instagram or any other place, do you have a preferred social platform?
Absolutely. Well, Instagram for sure. I am working on figuring out TikTok.
What's your ID on Instagram?
It's at Tara Zerker, and that's where I'm most active. So I'd love to connect with you. Please feel free to send me a DM and tell me what you found most valuable, or any follow-up questions you have. I love to answer those.
Tara, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your awesome insights with us. I know we're better because of it. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.